Nothing gives you a greater sense of self-nerf than modifying your own blasters, especially when you do something of really high quality. But what if you want to produce those kinds of mods, but you simply don't have the funds to do so? Well, in this series of videos, I am explaining to you how I go about modifying Nerf blasters on a budget. Unfortunately, after weeks and weeks and weeks of stunning sunshine, just as I've decided to shoot this video, the heavens have opened and it's now chucking it down with rain, which is why the lighting in this video is so absolutely terrible. If you watched last week's video, then hopefully you've already given some clear consideration to which blaster you want to modify. So what you need to do now is you need to buy it. There are lots of ways to buy Nerf blasters, and the first one I want to do is to rule out new ones, because let's be honest, if you're watching a video on how to modify Nerf blasters on a budget, then you're not going to have the money to go out and buy new Nerf blasters. Really then, what we're talking about is the second-hand market, and it's really easy to pick up lemons on the second-hand market. So the first thing you need to do is you need to read the description really carefully and make sure that what you're buying actually works. Now, I've had dealings with companies like PayPal and those sorts of people before, and they're normally really good. If you receive something that is not up to the specification that was promised, they will generally sort you out refunds and things like that. But it's better not to be in that position in the first place. And if you buy something and the description said it didn't work properly, then you've got nowhere to go. Alright, let's talk about auction sites. This is where most of us are going to go to get our blasters. Places like eBay, Gumtree, the new Facebook marketplace thing, because Facebook do pretty much everything now, and it's only a matter of time before we start getting Facebook soup and Facebook hair gel. Obviously I use a lot of hair gel myself. Facebook ebooks, Facebook books, Facebook faces. So there are several different ways to buy blasters from these sort of second-hand sites. The best one, if you've got the money, is to buy bundles. If you're just starting out and you want a set of blasters that you can sort of have in reserve, so you've got stuff there to modify, then 40 or 50 quid on a bundle is a fantastic idea. Do look at what is in that bundle and make sure that it is at the very least worth what you are paying for it. Do not get sucked in to paying a lot of money for a bunch of the old style reverse plunger end strike blasters that you then can't do anything with. If on the other hand you're buying a bundle because there's maybe one or two blasters in there that you want, what you can do is then stick the rest on eBay as individual lots and sell them off, and probably make most of, if not all of, your money back. Speaking about individual lots, you need to be very careful about this. Generally, you can get a lot more blaster for your money by buying bundles. If you're after one very specific blaster or one blaster that's harder to get hold of, you may find that you end up buying single lots, but don't be afraid to hold out for something to appear at the right price. I've come across so many occasions where blasters have been going on at more than I'm prepared to pay for them, and I've hung on for months and months and months, and eventually the blaster you want will come on at a price that you can afford. You just have to be incredibly, incredibly patient. Now, with things like Facebook and Gumtree, it's obviously slightly different, because what you're generally doing is buying from local people. There are a few advantages to this. The first is that you can actually go around and look at the thing you're buying if you want to before you buy it. But also, if you're buying from local people, they're normally more inclined to consider doing some kind of a deal. So you can make them a reduced offer, and you may well find that that gets accepted. Information obtained from our "Which Star Wars character are you?" quiz confirms that you are ugly. Here at Facebook Face, we are professional enough to wear a suit and approachable enough to forego a tie. Using the latest in 1980s pseudo-scientific nonsense, we are able to turn this into this. So say goodbye to your face ache face and say hello to Facebook Face. Another important source for finding blasters is to make friends within the community and put the word out if you're looking for a particular blaster. I spent months and months and months and months and months trying to find myself a Sledgefire. And on eBay, they are all horrendously expensive and there weren't any for sale near me. But I put the news out on some of the forums, etc., that I was looking for one of these. And I just sort of refreshed that every so often and said, has anyone come across one? And eventually I received a message from somebody who said they were picking up a bundle, it had a Sledgefire in it. They did not want the Sledgefire, but they were prepared to sell it to me at a very reasonable price, and it came with all 3 shells intact, most of the original darts as well. And I was very happy with the price I paid for it. So they were happy because they got reimbursement for a chunk of the bundle that they bought, and I was happy because I'd gotten a blaster that I wanted at a price that I could afford. Being patient when you are on a budget is massively important. When you're shopping for blasters, and especially when you're bidding for blasters on an auction site, it's really, really important not to lose your head. Oh no, I was bidding for blasters and I lost my head. It's very easy to set yourself a budget for a blaster and then look at a blaster and say, oh well, it's only gone sort of £2 over what I was originally prepared to pay for it, so I'll bid a little bit more. And then it's only gone £2 or £3 over that, so I'll bid a little bit more. And you end up paying an awful lot more for a blaster than you budgeted for. And unfortunately you do that and you end up spending an awful lot of money. And set yourself a budget. If the blaster you are bidding on goes over that budget, stop bidding, because you will fall into that trap of overbidding on something, and you'll end up paying more for it than it's actually worth. One of the other pitfalls of buying blasters is that buying blasters in itself is really addictive, and this comes back to one of the first things I said in the last video, which was plan your mod and then commit to it. It is very, very easy to sit there and buy sort of 30, 40, 100 blasters. Now, if you're on a budget and you do that, you are going to have no money left over to actually modify anything, and you're just going to have a room full of stock blasters. Another really useful thing about becoming involved in the community is that every so often somebody will approach you, perhaps because you're local to them, and say to them, look, I've got a whole bunch of nerf that I'm getting rid of. I thought I'd offer it to you first. I will offer it to you for a very reasonable price. And I've picked stuff up like this before. Either I've picked out bits of the lot that I would like and made an offer on it, or I've bought the whole lot. And it's another brilliant way to do it, but you need to be involved in that community, and you need to make sure that people are aware that you are interested in buying certain blasters or certain types of blasters. That is it. Decide what you want, be patient, and try all of the different avenues you can to find the blaster that you've decided you want to modify. And I am going to repeat myself here. You must remember, plan the mod and commit to carrying it out. If you change your mind all the time and you're constantly buying different blasters and thinking about doing different mods, you'll end up not finishing any of them. And above all else, whatever you do with nerf, make sure you enjoy it.